Hi everyone, and welcome to our first DLTV on the Fringe, part of our official podcast for DigiCon 15. We might turn off the camera for the hey, that's pretty cool. We have a very, very special guest with us, / superstar today, Hamish Curry from Notosh. Now, he has just given a fabulous keynote called Game Mindset Match. And what I found really interesting about the keynote was you played a game live in front of us called Duet. It's an amazingly beautiful game. And tweets about you and encouragement coming up on the screen at the same time, and the distraction of performing your game in front of everyone in the room. And yet you did a marvelous job, even though you were not playing your best.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really inspiring. So why did you do that?
Well, actually, I mean, the idea came to me while playing the game. So naturally, I really love playing that game, Duet. As I was saying to someone afterwards, it's one of my go-to games when I just need to reset my brain, because it actually requires you to be quite focused. You actually can't be thinking about anything else while you play the game. And of course, often that's the complaint with people level at games, that you just focus on that game. But then I think things like that actually provide a very small, short, bite-sized way to just reset the brain, focus on something. What I like about Duet 2 is it's very much about pattern and rhythm, as you saw. And it's also, I think it's the beauty of its design, in that it looks so beautifully simple, but there's a lot of great complexity there. And I think the challenge I found is that like that level, those levels that I played were at the higher end of the game. So they were some of the harder levels. But I thought that I would be fine asking the cost of the nurses, and I guess the tweets coming through, and I had a little twitch in my thumb, which didn't help me navigate the game. But I thought it would also hopefully help make that message. First of all, the idea of Duet, just a metaphor of Duet, also the nature of the sense of the theme of hope, and then the way it talks about hope. Which I think very often for us as educators, we can spend a lot of time getting a little bit despondent, a little bit hard on ourselves. Something I've found actually in my travels with Notosh is that teachers are often the biggest critics of their work, often I think too critical of their work. When they think someone is, they don't know, you are doing amazing things, it's really clever, you're really learning new things, I can hear what you're saying, and I didn't get it right, I'm not satisfied. That's exactly what you want. You want actually a student to say the same things too, right?
Absolutely.
So I guess all of that also wrapped in the sense of I wanted to do something that I hadn't done before. I wanted to do something that would get people right off the bat experiencing something a little bit different. So yeah, all in all, it seems to have worked pretty well, but I was disappointed I didn't get those levels done smoothly.
There were a few people who were rooting for those flats on the
I know, I saw that.
I like the blue ones better than the red ones.
The red ones were pretty good. It was a metaphor for schools, and that's how school is a game. It's about overcoming failure, hope, and I'm right picking up that we need to think more about leveling up, being able to rise to the challenge.
Yeah. There was also, I think, the other sense there that I hope was that those last sort of chapters, if you like, looking at the unexpected things. That very often, sometimes when we talk with teachers about planning curriculum, we also talk about the unintended curriculum. What are the things that you are also going to naturally find that happen in this experience that you're designing? Because very often we can plan it and say, this is exactly what I'm covering, but so many other things come into play. And very often, if we're so invested in it and we want to control it, we'll actually exclude those things and not actually see the unexpected things as actually being a slightly great tangent, a great opportunity to delve into something else. And so without the time and space to do that, we see the unexpected things as a distraction. I think they are an option, if you like. You go, actually, here's something really interesting, just give this your attention for a minute. And that was also the idea of the unexpected things are beautiful, which I really like.
And that message of serendipity as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to, with the structure of curriculum, you have to let it go first. And then you can find the beauty. And I was reflecting with someone the other day how we were talking about sharing things publicly versus controlled and private. And I said, really, if you're sharing things publicly, that's when you're more likely to get that serendipitous occasion.
Yes.
Someone famous like Hamish Curry might comment on your blog or favorite your tweet or meet you in real life, and that's really exciting. But you can't always plan for those things in a protected, organised kind of space.
Yep.
But just like a comment on how it's not one teaching strategy or pedagogical approach to remove them all, it's that combination of them. So you've got your chaos and your order working together, and the plan is super fluid.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's actually knowing what your pedagogical approaches are that you can pull from. And there are so many. So there are so many things that teachers have tried. Some of them work, some of them didn't. But sometimes the missing piece there is, did you spend enough time reflecting on why it didn't work? And what do we do differently next time? It's not to say, right, let's throw out project-based learning because it doesn't work. I gave the kids 3 hours to go research this and they came back with nothing. Very often there's something else. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's often something else that's going on.
Yeah.
So I think that's the challenge. It's both the experience that teachers need to have of the learning process, because it's the same kind of investigation and reflection you actually want students to have as well. Often school is far too busy to give students enough time to go, what didn't work well for me? What would I want to get better at doing? It's not get better at learning about the French Revolution. It's the way I've been learning that I do. So,
but that little planning process, you also make it.
Better go out the window. Look natural, sorry.
If anyone's wondering, we're at the Trade Centre here at the conference. We're just swinging one of the cameras around.
I'll do a spin around. Ready?
There you go.
Whoa, motion sick yet? So we've got the trade display, and Mel Cashin was just taking photos behind us.
She's conveniently tucked it in the way.
And we have hundreds of people who are all over the Swinburne campus who are exploring. When we're doing a curriculum planning, it's often a very structured, dull, bare, finite math, scope and sequence. And I was fascinated to see some of the planning charts that you threw up there where groups you work in. You have these hexagonal lines and strings. What did you make was that it will change, that in the year that this planning was being undertaken, new things would come in, elements would rearrange. There was a very flexible, fluid planning environment. Elaborate on this.
So essentially, I suppose it's you've got to have a plan. I think one of the mistakes of inquiry, and again, one of those downfalls of project-based learning is, right, so here's everything you need, and off you go, and let's just see what happens. So of course, if it all falls in, you go, yeah, see, it doesn't work. You still have to go with a plan. But sometimes being able to realise that you can dynamically keep changing your plan as you go, to keep correcting. I mean, isn't that's the whole point of life and of learning, that you don't progress and you don't just give up. What could I change? What can I correct? And so using the hexagons as a way to work in that curriculum, but over the top of it too, there are certain points intersecting there, telling teachers, and what are we covering? What are the things we're covering? So it's not just about the curriculum. It also helps them see what they haven't covered, and also where they need to break it up. So some of those photos too, it says that they, I wish I'd been able to capture more recent photos because they changed again. So often you saw the big lumps of blue or pink, the big lumps of maths, big lumps of English, and I would sit down with them and go, how are you going to make that work? In other words, behind it, like, and I'm going, don't tell me that you're going to teach that tight clump of maths how to do it. You can see ways in which numeracy don't intersect with all the wonderful things you do in projects in global learning.
You mean knowledge is not just discrete with
No.
and there's no set answer.
Yeah.
It's fluid, it changes.
That's right. And we're constantly finding new connections. And so imagine applying the idea, I guess, for teachers. This comes back to your point about learning, and learning is actually seen there, as I was saying, design learning. You actually look at all the combinations you can create, and you keep changing it, you keep switching it around, and you go, wait a minute, we can do this. And then someone will always get it at some point, like, oh, no, wait, and they'll move one bit, and then all of a sudden you see, and go, oh, that's it. That solves so many things we didn't see. Or until someone actually mentions, maybe we could do this, thinking it's a silly idea, but someone goes, actually, my auntie or my sister actually works in that space, or she does work, we could use her. Oh, there you go, there's viability there now. So sometimes removing the pressure and rigor of, right, you've got to do this very structured curriculum planning versus, right, expand it out, redesign it, recombine it. And again, it's the same thing, the pressure and the challenge as teachers as students is, where's the time to do that? Obviously, that's one of those common things I hear, is teachers say we have time for, we have no time to do this. But when you dedicate the time to it, and even in an hour and a half, you can do a lot of progress in the time.
I was interested to hear how you were looking for sources of inspiration, and you suggested science fiction. And I've got a science fiction toys here.
Cue the props.
That's right, cue the props. We have Doctor Who and his sonic screwdriver here. David Tennant and William Shatner, Shoot to Kill. Collection of sonic screwdrivers here. But yes, that's right, it's mine. We're mapping the DLTV. If the DLTV was a molecule, what molecule would it be? That's it. Which is actually interesting because it's about networking and making connections and coming up with something new. I think it's a molecule of caffeine. What you actually mean by it? Is that you need to find sources of inspiration and science fiction allows us to drop time and our current position as a standard, or do you think there's something else?
Well, okay, so think about science fiction as often maybe, it might most often maybe comes up in the world realms of maybe English. So kids do a piece on creative writing or imaginative writing, right? So they maybe write about some science fiction, but science fiction can be a story of space or whatever it might be. Well, I guess the point I was making there, in science fiction, everything that we think is maybe science fiction now may well become science fact.
Yes.
So where was the space in which we got to that point? Because so much of what started out as, wouldn't it be great in a world that actually does this? And then, yes, we actually get there. This is where one of the things I often love to think about is something that all innovation and all science fiction started out of someone's imagination. Right? Creativity and innovation has its roots in our imagination. So everything goes, what if we could do this? And so I guess for me, the what if, where's that space in school? We have science labs, as I mentioned, IT labs, so that's where, well, to be very rudimentary, it's where science happens. Okay? Where's the space which is, it could be a physical space, it could be a physical space, but where's the space of science fiction? Going, imagine a drone camera that could see, that would act a bit like an X-ray, and that we could see through things as it flies around, or apply a piece of knowledge in one field and apply it to a piece of knowledge in another field and go, what if that worked? Wouldn't that be cool, right? Because I suppose that's where the link up with games is. Wouldn't it be cool if that's how it works?
Yeah.
And it's, you hear often, when you hear really great learning happening, there is the elements of that in there. That both the teacher and the student start to imagine that what if. What if we could do this?
Teaching history is about what if. What if the American Indians were able to assert independence? Yeah. And I wonder too, when I was looking at the student voice, we were looking at a school ICT policy and vision statement. One of the really good suggestions I heard from someone was to the students, what if the school was in the newspaper in 10 years' time? That would be the headlines they would say. This school is able to, and it's more than science fiction, but the idea is that you're asking students to help paint a picture of the vision, make it become the reality. And it also then picks up, I guess, the kind of values that you do have, the fears that you do have. And I think there's also a sense of hope that you might have of overcoming that.
I think the other element that it feeds off, and so I gave some of those examples of some of it's just like a mini drone, a thing called Flick, or something else. So, or even something like Google Cardboard, getting it into a space where it's not just, okay, this is what it does, because inevitably what we want to do is, what else could it do? What problems could it help us solve here at school? And that's where actually that kind of application of science fiction goes, well, we wanted to do this, but it doesn't do that. Well, particularly when you've got new ideas, and if you add that realm of new ideas, imagine if the school took something like Flick, like that little button that does 3 different things, and try to get it to do this, which it couldn't do. Now imagine the students contacting the developers in Sweden and going, we try to make it do this and it can't work. It's something that the developers of Flick have already done. They've released the code, So you can actually work out the back end of how to program it. So they can work with a school to go, this is how you reprogram it.
So here's your product, and they did better.
And we just did something different. And ironically, they are often the things that we talk about getting a school in the news. They are the things that often get a school in the news. A school, no one gets in the news for doing this day-to-day stuff. You get in the news for pushing the boundaries and doing something different, and look what this school did. So I think that's, yes, that's where you, and I guess the bookend to that conversation, which is why I wanted to hope, you've got to actually got to have some hope that these are the things that are what's needed in pushing the boundaries of learning. And they shouldn't be expensive.
And you also talked about the ideas of risk and challenge, and this is a really odd segue. And props. You had a prop during your and the banana selfie challenge #BananaGate is on. Tell us what happened. Why did you eat a banana during your presentation, and why did you get super pounds?
Yeah, good. Well, I'll tell you what, I must say.
Was it stronger than making it instead?
No, but that's a good point. That would have been kind of cool, wouldn't it? It had some wires hanging out of it while I was eating it. You would have thought it would have been like energized or something. It's actually far more simple and silly than our story. Essentially, it was a dare from about 6 months ago. I was at a conference in March, the Creative Innovation Conference, and I ran into Adrian. Sorry, Adrian, I'm going to drop you in here. And he said that he had a discussion with Steve Collis. Hi, Steve, if you're out there, thanks for that. That's if that. Wouldn't it be great if in a keynote you could get a piece of fruit? It was something that would just people go, again, it was just simply from the point of disruption. Getting people to go, wait a minute, why and when is he eating a piece of fruit? Now my choice was a banana. I must say I thought it was going to be the easiest challenge to take on. So it was always my intention to eat a banana during the keynote. But maybe when you watch the footage back, and when I opened it, I literally am still looking at my banana going, I don't know how I'm going to eat this now and talk. Because and it was quite hard. The thing was, I realised I wasn't actually eating my banana enough, so I kept trying to work out how to sneak a bite in. And afterwards, already someone had said, what about grapes? And I was like, grapes would have been perfect. But we've already agreed on how you could push those boundaries. So, to be honest, I think the Snackdown Challenge, which has now been laid out, is the idea of how do we continue to keep keynotes and talks like that, of that nature, just, I suppose, painful and surprising, which is kind of hard thing of my brand is to be about.
We could challenge people to eat the water.
So should. He might be up for it. I don't know, maybe he can think whatever he thinks is most appropriate.
When I come to Queensland, I'll challenge you to eat a pineapple. Yes.
Well, I know
Yes.
Beck's Spink is going to Singapore soon. Maybe she should do durian.
Oh, yes, that'd really for the audience.
Yeah, that's not good.
But it is about breaking down the barriers and changing the rules. And that's a lot about what this conference has been trying to do. They're really having their Fringe Festival, with us doing this podcast and some of the other things. Do you think it's right for an organisation that there's a risk that they may disengage some of the features, or is it an opportunity to find a new direction and sense of purpose?
Now, to be honest, I've said this to Mel and a number of people from DLT, that I think the kind of moves in simply looking at a festival stream, calling it DigiCon, pushing the boundaries of how people can experience a conference is brilliant. It's exactly what's needed. If anything, my reading of the conference format is that unless people do keep looking at how to keep changing it and how to work with different levels of scale, the conference format will just quickly become quite old and boring. And I guess both from my experiences in running 10X Melbourne events and then also more recently running Do Lectures Australia, which was my attraction to those things is this is different. How does this work? How do you both remove and create space for people to think, for example, Do Lectures where there's no Wi-Fi, there's no electricity, you're miles away from anything. How does it change the game? Yes, this had generators. All those logistical challenges, it really starts to push your thinking in what matters. And I think DLT has done a great job. We continue to experiment with that, and that's what people actually want. I think the other great thing that has already been noted about this conference is that there's a really strong focus on Victoria. you know, after all, that's a great focus to have. But
there's
again,
Queenslanders here too.
there are interstate people, so they're coming down to learn from Victoria, but that's the point.
And ACT, you've got a conference to talk about it later.
But I think that's the point. The idea of how can it continue to create its own flavour and uniqueness.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think that's what's needed. So I think that the move to keep pushing those boundaries, changing the way we design, it's all the great things that I would say is the way to go. Yeah.
It's wonderful. I've really enjoyed that. Really talking about all these things. The takeaway for me is that inspiration and hope should be something that we aspire to, rather than just assessing the reports.
Yeah, well, I think you know, hope can be actually attached to, hopefully, we can design better forms of assessment. And I think we're not that far away. And I think actually it's only a matter of time if we start to push the science back in the science fiction line around the design of those things. Someone will crack it. Just to provide the time and space for people to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
Thanks,
joining us and
Thanks,
seeing
Laura.
our very first DLT on the Fringe interview.
Now, if you look up at tools here, you've got your banana, and you've got your
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
and you have to cross the beams. Here we go.
Okay, until next